Good morning. Anyone, if you would rise and join us in the invocation and pledge, please.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you that we can be in all of you, that our seasons can all happen at once. Yesterday warm, today cold. Only you, Lord, have control over what we can't even put our finger on. Lord, I thank you for the people in this room. I pray that they all get home safe to their homes this evening and in their travels today from one appointment to the other. In Jesus' name we all pray. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, public comment. Number one. Is there anybody, are we okay? Are we?
Yeah.
Is there, I know we have people signed up, John, if we can do those in here.
Mr. McElroy, do you want to go first?
Regarding the firing of Mr. Parker, at best, Mr. Trecost and Ms. Thomas have exhibited extremely poor judgment, not in the best interests of Harrison County or the citizens of Harrison County. Mr. Parker was absolutely the best candidate for this position with years of experience right here in Harrison County. I believe this vote has betrayed the trust that voters have placed in Ms. Thomas and Mr. Trecost. Now, coming forward, we have on the agenda consideration for approval of the project fund requisition. This project is already going to take county money through 2035. Okay, they have been, over the years since 2005, have been taking the county money or the tax money and applying it to the payments minimally. And additional monies that they've collected have been applied to their project, reducing their costs and increasing their profits without paying off any of the principal. These have been rewritten and refunded and started over again. And again, nobody has paid off any principal. They are reducing their costs with the tax money. And now they want to extend the tax monies that would at 2035 go to the county. They want to continue doing that for another 5 years. I think it's atrocious that that should happen, that the rewriting of these bonds, these types of bonds in the private sector would not be rewritten. Okay, that they are designed to give the interest up front, and that first bond, which was purchased by those that had interest in the contractors, and they received over $6 million in interest payments over a 5, 6, 7 year period, and not one penny was paid back in principal. And in fact, more money was added into the principal for different rewriting fees, lawyer fees, bond fees, and whatnot. So the principal was actually increased instead of decreased. So I do not believe that we should extend this, that they need to put up and stop taking tax money to lower their expenses and increase their profits. They've been doing that long enough. Additionally, on the agenda is the reforming, altering or modifying a county commission. That call gives 3 options. One is the current that we have had for several years. And to me, that seems to have been running very nicely. Another one, to me, is like creating a king of the county. The voters would, and generally a popularity contest of sorts, would elect a leader for the county commission who would be in charge of appointments and running the county. And it would not necessarily be someone with excellent qualifications that might be found through a nationwide search. And the other is a town manager. And the town manager has more authority than the administrator and less oversight from the commission. He appoints everybody and the commission has to approve it. However, he's in charge of who gets appointed, and there's less control over a manager by the committee, by the commission. And I would recommend against the town manager and retaining the system that we have. And regarding the system that we have with Mr. Parker gone, my experience has always been that somebody that's very efficient, with excellent knowledge of a position, when they leave, essentially, it's almost a necessity to hire 5 people to take his place with his position plus additional people under him to take up the requirements of the position that he would be unable to immediately handle. And something like that, you know, that's why I believe we have poor judgment in his firing. And I have observed the situations here in this commission where we have a businessman sitting on the commission. We have a almost exclusively government worker and a gentleman who has been a lineman and an elected government official, a union lineman, and they appear to be ignoring the years of business experience we have here sitting on the commission. His opinions appear to be thrown to the side, and I think they need to work together, pay attention to the advice and experience that you have here on the committee, on the commission, and see if we can't come to some better solutions given the experience that's on the commission. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, John?
So. Morning. Elections have consequences. Since the 2016 election for county commission, property owners have been faced with the threat of zoning and building codes. These issues get voted down, but put back on the agenda again. This is the second time this month for spot zoning at the airport. Overreaching regulations of property has been one of the goals of Commissioner Hinkle. Spot zoning won't stay in one spot. As soon as that area is zoned, it will be on the agenda to expand zoning. When the issue of zoning first started, I told Mr. Parker next will be building codes. He said it is 2 separate issues and don't worry about it. Sure enough, before the public meeting on zoning even started, Commissioner Hinkle had building codes on the agenda. When it didn't pass, he said, I will put it on the agenda every month, and it was voted down for several months. City of Bridgeport has zoning and the airport's in the city limits. So what is the motivation for zoning property outside of the city limits? We're told the purpose is noise, but could it be zoning, land, commercial, force property owners to sell because of higher taxes? Only time will tell the true reasoning behind this. The county has grown with the FBI complex, and all this growth was done without regulating home and property owners in rural areas. The county is mostly rural, and many citizens live in rural areas to get away from municipality regulations. There were large turnouts at the public meeting on zoning a couple years ago. Not one resident spoke in favor. I am asking the two county commissioners that try to represent all county residents in all areas of the county to vote no and continue to vote no on zoning. Putting issues on the agenda continuously after it's voted down creates an atmosphere of controversy. Now it is on the agenda to expand the commission to 5 members. Why not put it on the agenda to work on getting all residents access to broadband, cell phone, and clean drinking water? Something for the people of this county.
Carol? I'll direct my comments about the improvements to the rail trail.
Could you identify yourself?
My name is David Farrell from
Thank you.
Bridgeport. And the rail trail, they're talking about paving it. And it's, right now it's a nice, smooth, soft surface for people like myself that have a bad back or sore knees can walk on a smooth surface. Back in the summer, the county commission brought a dump or truck up there, dumped a bunch of real heavy gravel from the under the bridge up to the gate, and no one could use that. I mean, you can't bike on it, you can't walk on it or anything. If they go past the gate from there to the Marion County line, the Marion County Park Service has used a real tiny gravel that makes a nice smooth surface, a nice soft surface. And it's the only place I know of where I don't have unforgiving asphalt. The VA Park's been paved. All the trails in town are paved. This is one place where a person with bad knees and bad back can walk on a soft surface. The only place I know of, unless you go in the woods where there's roots and rocks and everything. I think it's a real good thing for this county to have that area between Shinston and Enterprise and on up to the county line that's not paved. And runners or walkers will tell you that blacktop kills your feet, kills your knees, kills your back. And that's the only place I know where you got a soft surface. And I think the money could be better spent for the paving on the roads and stuff. But that's a nice place out in nature with beautiful trees and a beautiful place to run. I know people who have trained for different athletic events using strictly the rail trail because it's not paved. And I don't know why you waste money to do that. It's been that way for as long as I can remember. And they put maintenance in it lately. No one's been putting any maintenance in it, so I'm real pleased there's going to be some improvements. But that don't pave it. Just leave it nice and smooth and soft for us older people who need to walk on it or jog on a soft surface. Thank you.
Thank
Ricky, how do you say your last name, sir?
Dorsey.
Dorsey?
I'm here for the same reason as Dave here. I walk the trail basically every day, and I talk to a lot of people down there. And most people that I talk to are against paving our trail down there. And the other ones who don't care, they're not excited about anything like that happening. Now, there are several reasons for this. Health reasons are definitely one, and Dave mentioned that. Of our concerns. It's well documented that walking, jogging on asphalt and concrete are much harder on the knees, hips, ankles, and feet. There are also scientific reasons for not paving the trail with asphalt. Asphalt absorbs sunlight and releases that energy as infrared radiation, commonly known as heat. Paving will actually increase the temperatures on the trail during the summer. Many people take their dogs for walks on the trail. And in the summer, these dogs can have their paws burnt. And also horses are adversely affected by paving the trail. During the winter, ice will build up on the trail and will make it really hard, if not impossible, to walk the trail. Paving might also lead to more four-wheelers on the trail, which we absolutely don't want. Finally, paving the trail is going to be expensive. Marion County has begun putting down crushed rock on the trail, and where they have done so, the trail is great. It's really tiny rock, and they're rolling it, and bicycles can travel down there easily.
I understand a couple of you have actually been down on the trail there. And if you haven't done so for a while, walk past the stone telephone booth out there and see what they've done. They're not finished. They just got started. Instead of spending all that money on asphalt, we could use that money to help ditch the trail to keep water off of it. We can put another gate up right before the bridge that they put in there. There's a gate where four-wheelers come over there, a little hump right there, and constantly get on the trail. Also, we need some culverts to divert the water. You would have to do that anyways if you put asphalt on there. And again, that's more expensive. There's also a culvert that is basically, if we don't take care of it pretty soon, it's going to just cave the trail in. It's right past the bridge. You can see it happening right now. This is the only place we have to walk without asphalt, except up at the Lincoln football field. And to be honest with you, it's rather boring going around in an oval as compared to going down all the trails, seeing deer, squirrels, and other wildlife. And so we would like you not to take that trail, to put that small rock down and follow up with what Marion County is doing. Thank you.
Is that everybody here? Is there anybody on Zoom that wishes to speak publicly? Anybody wish to speak publicly? I see one that raised their hand. Wanda?
Yeah, good morning, good morning. Hey, how much is this thing costing the taxpayers' money? That's what I want to know. How much does it cost to us?
Are you speaking of the rail trail? What are you speaking of?
Yeah, the rail trail to do, I mean, I'm not sure how far it's going now, how many people walk it a day. How much does this cost the taxpayers?
Actually, my understanding is that you can speak publicly, but there is no interaction with the commission. If somebody else wants to correct me. If you wanted to contact the office, maybe you could have a conversation with somebody at that point.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not trying to put you off, Wanda. I'm just
That's okay, thank you.
welcome. Anyone else wish to speak publicly? Hearing none, we will move on to number 2, the consent agenda. What is the pleasure?
Madam President, motion to accept. I was just going to ask that we go ahead and the tabled items be removed from the agenda, and particularly number 2. And it's up to you guys if you want to continue to carry number 1. It's up to you guys. But in particular, number 2 can be removed.
Okay, the motion's been made to remove number 2 from the consent agenda.
You want to continue to, Commissioner Hickman, want to continue to carry number 1?
I don't want to forget about it.
No, we're not. You carry it if you want to. Okay, just remove number 2 then.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, here,
I didn't know table items were part of this now. I'd rather deal with them directly.
okay, I think that's what he's trying to do is remove number 2 from the table.
I make a motion to remove item 2 from the table items.
Okay,
Okay,
the motion is on the floor to remove item 2 from the tabled items. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. We can now remove number 2 from the consent agenda. Or from the table items, excuse me, I may have messed up that.
Approve the consent agenda.
A motion's been made to move the consent agenda. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I don't believe there's any opposition. Motion carries. It appears that there are no payroll change notices. We have 2 exonerations. Well, actually, I think they're corrected tickets. What's the pleasure?
Motion to receive it. correct?
Motion to approve exonerations
Mhm.
or corrected tickets, excuse me. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. There are no consolidation of land or segregation of land. We have one for number 6, which is consideration of approval of a project fund requisition for the payment of costs associated with the project to be financed from proceeds of the Series 2019 bonds issued for the Charles Point Economic Opportunity Development District Series 2015 A and B, Development District number 3, White Oaks Project number 2, and Series 2008A, Charles Point Project number 2, North Land Bay Improvements. Requisition for $500. What's the pleasure?
Motion to move forward.
Okay. Motion's been made to move forward. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number 7, it appears that there are no requisitions for that. Number 8, review, discuss, consider requirements for reforming, altering, or modifying a county commission under Code 711A.
Like for the commission to consider an attorney to look into what it takes to get a resolution and what we need to do to put it out. Make our 3-person commission to a 5-person council.
Is that in the form of a motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Motion's been made to ask the attorney to look into a resolution to change the form of county government from a commission to a council. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? No. Number 9, review, discuss, consider request to attend CAET, continuing education for West Virginia Board of Veterinary Medicine, Stonewall Resort, Roanoke, that should be West Virginia, for June 4th, 2021, for those listed, employees listed. What's the pleasure?
Motion to move forward.
Motion to move forward. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 10, review, discuss, consider resignation of Roger Diaz from the MAC Board and the Ambulance Authority Board.
Motion to accept Commissioner Diaz.
I think we have to look at the MAC Board. I don't. Am I correct?
Yeah, we don't have to accept the resignation, that's on them. They are not a public entity, they're a 501c entity. So I would just suggest you all address the ambulance authority board resignation, because that is within your all's purview under 715.
Motion to move forward as stated by the county attorney.
Motion would be to accept the resignation of Mr. Diaz to the Ambulance Authority Board, correct?
Correct.
And the MAC Board takes care of their own, I believe, through their board. Any discussion on this? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Number
I did want to add, so you all are aware, his term was from September 5th, 2019 through September 4th, 2022. So you all will need to appoint
Point somebody through that.
term.
Finish this one. Number 11, review, discuss, consider information concerning the improvements for Good Hope. And I assume that's the Good Hope Park.
Susan, mine start that I wanted to talk about the part of 13.
Oh, okay.
On mine.
Well, do we want to put 11 and 13 together if that's what that is? Sure. Okay.
So I guess you want to skip 12 to go to 13 or.
Well, can we just go ahead and do 12 and then then we could do the parks all together? Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we will put 11 with 13 and go ahead and move to 12. Review, discuss, consider public hearing. Harrison County subdivision and land development ordinance to be scheduled for June 16th at 10 a.m. What's the pleasure?
Move to approve.
Motion's been made to approve the public hearing. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Now we will do the parks. Which take care of, first will be Good Hope.
On that Digius, if you have that. Yes, sir. You bring it up. Next slide. Before I get into the discussion with the other parks, I think we need to look at what I call our main park, Route 19 Recreation Complex. Got a gazebo, got a shade tent. Looks like they have ADA equipment. Go to the next one. This is more the Route 19 complex. They have several picnic areas. Again, lots of playground equipment. Next one. Bathrooms. We've now installed you can kind of see it by the picnic area. What do you guys call that? Gaga. And what you can't see is we installed a volleyball court at this complex. So join the next one. Here's Good Hope. 8 miles down the road. This is, we got a porta pot, old metal slide. We want to call it swing set. There's basketball. Grass. Next slide. This is the baseball field. Bleachers are bent, tore up. They're sitting on blocks. There's no backstop. It's made out of all plastic tent or plastic. I guess my question to the commission, Parks and Rec, is what are the plans and what are the budget that you can begin to bring this up to some kind of a quality place to go?
When in inspecting the park, of course, you'd see it's needs are many there. The first thing we want to start with is what we considered swing set, new swing set, the right time with the Powerscape swing, the kits, the ADA swing on it. Those are on there. Then the half court basketball is basically a 30 by 30, just past the 3-point length. Concrete, that's 4150 to install it. The new basketball pole and rims, 3168. So you got those things all. Next page. Yeah, this one.
You sent an email yesterday, didn't you, Doug?
Yeah, we do have hard copies. with
I
us,
appreciate
too.
that.
The ball field, honestly, the backstop isn't bad. The top has the plastic on, the rest of it is, and it is sound right now. There's no problems with it. I'm not saying it doesn't need to be placed somewhere along the way, but that might not be a priority. The first and third baseline was fencing, it's all sound, no problem. The outfield fence is really non-existent. They're actually using the neighbor's fence line and tying it in so it actually makes a right angle and things. So we definitely like to see a new outfield fence put in. It could be done, the traditional way would be, what, $12,000 if we had like a fencing company do it. We had proposed an idea of doing it with 4x4s and plywood, to make like a Major League Stadium look of a wall, a green wall with a top on it and the fence, you know, the distances on it all. And on that way, that would cost, right, that close. I'm changing glasses back before. I broke glasses, so I got two different kinds now. I'm trying to.
About $3,800. So it's about $8,000 savings. The cool part about it is like Mike was mentioning, chain link fences with the yellow borders is great, but you know, when we did some Google searches on some of these little league playgrounds, just to see if that would be something that could be in compliance with. You know, there's some that look like Wrigley Field, you know, Williamsport with the Little League All-Star, the Little League World Series and all that. I mean, this is something where I think like the Green Monster, you know, Fenway, I think, you know, all these other places, and to have a green stained fence, have a yellow line across the top, having opportunities for the Clarksburg Airport, Rasher, RDR, have nice, you know, sponsor signs out there. I mean,
With the money going back into the field.
Right, exactly.
That becomes a reality.
having a warning track out there, you know, digging out a 10-foot area, putting fill dirt in there, turfus, which is a product used to kind of repel water on days it rains. You do things like that. I mean, it's going to totally give a transformation of the.
Be a neat looking thing, and it's all can be done in-house really easily, actually, you know, make the 4x4s, that in the things with it. Of course, we can do in-house regular fencing too, which is relatively the same price as the plywood, but we just thought the plywood was interesting. It's technically different and appealing things.
How would it hold up in comparison to?
Well, with the treated wood and stuff, I'm sure that the lifespan on that would be, even if one would get bad, I mean, it's simply taking 8 screws, take out the plywood sheet, replacing it, staying in it.
And there's no regulations.
We looked into that. I talked to a couple local little leagues, county leagues and all that, and there's no regulations on what the fence has to be, so.
Some have wood, some have a brick wall, you know, whatever they might have. at
Well,
different
that's true.
locations.
We don't want to break one.
No.
No. But the field is starting to get some use. They're basically just practicing now, but there's hopes that there could be games down there, but regardless, it would make a nice looking park place. All those things together as a start, as a first phase, would be $19,719. That's not including labor. So and all this can be done in-house if we so choose. And of course, we're fencing, we're doing more ties and things like that, make sure all the fencing is in good shape. But it honestly is sound. There isn't anything immediately wrong with that fencing up the first and third line. Again, someday you might want a new backstop. We have a price of a backstop here if you want to replace it. What's your backstop price? Go?
It's about 3,500. And what it is, it's 3 10-foot sections and then has the foot on top of it. It comes pretty fat and all we have is kind of tied together. So, and it would actually pretty much look exactly like that.
Yeah, basically that was one at one time.
And the dugouts.
Dugouts, again, sound right now, but there would need to we want new benches and things like that, and if that's included, we get benches for the dugouts.
what's it cost to actually put a playground in like you did down at Walls?
Those are, what's your
Well,
last? They're-
to put the swing sets and all that in there.
No, you're talking about play structure.
Yeah.
Play structure, and the prices go, the gamut from 20,000 to 30,000.
Whatever you did with Walls.
It was about 30, like 30,000.
We just,
I think that's what was in your email. It was about 30,000, I think.
yeah, we budgeted 30,000 in 2019.
Of course, those are nice. Depends on which way you want to go, dividing the different projects up. Give emphasis this time and whatever the pleasure is.
Speaking about the bleachers as well, I mean, I stood up and jumped on them, and I mean, they're actually sturdier than what you think. The only downfall is that fall on the back. You know, all bleachers nowadays seem to have this low rise on it, and that one's a little bit taller, so it might be a safety issue. And like I mentioned before, there are two very usable low rise bleachers down at Spelter, that's in front of the watching boards. That could be a replacement for it if we're looking to save money. But if we're looking to buy the bleachers, it's about $1,300.
You've got over a foot overhang on those cinder blocks that hold back. It's just.
Oh, it
I
needs,
totally agree.
yeah, no, it needs reset, no matter what you do. Even if you kept those.
Not worth keeping. They're rusted out.
No, they're like, they did their lifespan.
First and foremost, Doug, you can't serve me a softball that you said, because you wouldn't jump on those and they held you outside in front of everybody. I'm cracking on you later. And hey, Susan, David, just so you know, right now in the equipment line item, we still have $4,000 capital outlay line item. We have 69 and materials and supplies. We still have, I'm sorry, inventory, we still have 19,000. So we have $93,000 right now. And I'm with David right now, Susan. Let's go ahead and make this park nice. I think it's a great idea. I think that even the fence, I love it.
I think it's very unique. I mean, you know, you can go down to the Richmond City Park, you can go to, you know, any of the other local parks in there. You don't see it. You don't see a wall like that.
I really do love it.
I
And
think
just
it's
so you
gonna
know,
have a nice feel to it.
I spoke to Clarksburg Little League practices down there. Next year, if this park's what you guys just said, they're gonna play ball, not just practice, but
Awesome.
Man, it's gonna take infield work.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It is.
oh, yeah.
And a lot of times, if people that are going to use the fields, for example, out at Summer Park, Butch Sutton has a Patriot travel ball team, and they came in, they completely did a dig of the upper field and got it all nice, and I'm sure those guys, and that kind of helps them that, hey, we're doing this, you know, as citizens, you can throw your skin in the game as well, and it just shows it's just.
They're working together really nice there now between soccer and the
That's
ball. Soccer, every field at Summer Park has soccer. on it.
That's what's.
So I just put notes just now. You guys could go ahead and do the playground equipment like David referenced
You
to.
want to play structure?
Yeah,
We'll
Put
set the
ADA.
prices on those.
go ahead and do the fence in the back. Go ahead and do the basketball court. And then what do you, tell me, Mike, this is your world, not mine. What about the backstop?
Oh, I'd like to replace the silver one where it's just, you
No,
don't want to do it right now because they're using it. But yeah, I do it. I'd
Let's-
replace it.
So we allocated on paper just now, you just spent $45,000.
So you don't think you can take a day or two, cut that one out, if this one's modular, put it in?
Oh, yeah, you right, equipment stuff, Brady tells us, what you need to take out those. Cut it off, take it out.
What's the
The
back?
modular doesn't take long at all.
What's the backstop cost?
35.
About 35.
So how much you're talking about passing?
45 is what I got right now. Are you for that?
Uh,
All right, I'll go. I love it. Because as we get down the list, the most important thing, the only thing left I really have to say today is that Summer Park has to become safer.
Yeah.
I went, and it's not.
We got a lot, we've been out there two last.
And there's more
2
than enough
days.
money to do both.
One park at
yeah.
a time.
Well, I'm just saying, we can approve this based
Well,
on.
Well,
knowing
let's
what we-
finish this one and then we'll.
Yeah,
move
but-
on.
Yes,
let's,
I'm good with bringing this.
I'd like to see at least, no more than, not to exceed 50,000 right now, see what you can get with that.
I'll
Come
second
back
that.
with-
Okay.
That's your motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, motion is to move forward with the Good Hope Park under the proposals that they made today, not to exceed $50,000, correct?
If there's an issue to come back to us.
Any further discussion?
Mm-mm.
Hearing, what's the pleasure?
Motion to move forward with allocation of.
Oh, wait a minute, no, all in favor signify by saying aye. He's already made the motion.
Oh, sorry.
Aye. Okay, any opposed? That was my bad. Okay, motion carried.
I'm still pouncing on Comer for saying that he's.
That's all right, good.
He honestly did.
Okay, now we'll go to Summit Park.
I've got it in the right order. so. Okay. One of the things that kind of caught me off guard about Summit Park is we still call it Summit Park, and Summit Park still says they own it, and Jenkins Ford is still a sponsor. I don't know if Jenkins Ford's writing you a check.
They helped put basketball court in years ago.
I see where we put a new baseball backstop in the tents, but when I look at home plate, that's pretty,
Oh, that infield needs work done to it.
this nasty. There's no,
It needs realigned. The home plate isn't in the right place now, so we have to realign that infield. That's not hard.
There's a men's softball league that actually does all that work. And when they come in May, I mean, our first job is to figure out the open spaces right there, which we have a program with it. Those guys go in, they bring their own equipment and they do a complete overhaul. So the only thing that we're out of is about $800 in filter to make sure that the field's level.
I guess what bothers me though is that if somebody wanted to go out there this weekend with their family and have a softball game or pickup game, that's not possible.
They can probably do it on the book.
There's no reason that we don't do that.
I mean, it should be
No.
ready. I mean, that's
And
what
it needs to be fixed to
our
to
field.
that point at least.
Yeah. we
The
have
men's
to be able to
softball
use-
needs something more great.
Yeah.
Ready first.
I think Johnny can't see the other picture, oh, there it is. That's up on a small field, which I think is a softball.
That
field.
needs,
You've got two, I went over and pushed on that yesterday and thought it was gonna fall.
no, it's ready to go. It needs gone. We have proposals to build new dugouts in with that information that I've got now.
And that
Be
light
careful jumping on those.
is just wire nuts and it needs removed. It's a hazard. Fine, next one.
We had proposals, we got the equipment listed to fix the fence, put the new top rail and tie it all up in the right area, some holes need to be replaced. There's not a problem.
Basketball court needs repainted.
Yeah.
And whatever that coating was that they put on it.
Lot of fence work, that's not a hard thing, it's stuff where, you know, what maintenance will do what they can, and we keep on, Doug and I go out and we have no trouble tying up fence and doing things like that too.
Just remember, maintenance still comes out of your pocket. Maintenance still comes out of your pocket. We're looking at this, if you say it's 7,000, maintenance takes 20,000 to do it. That's unless we get a disagreement over here, that's still your cost, whether it's maintenance doing it or an outside source, we just take these cheaper. So what's your budget for Summit Park right now?
Just to do the repairs and build the dugouts is what we're looking at. What's your figure, Dave?
A little under 8,000, 7520.
Which dugouts?
Page 3.
The two on the first field and the up on top field,
And the bottom fields are all right.
they're okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not saying they're not perfect, that field's used, they're really not even used, because that field's more of a soccer field now. They have two soccer places on that.
I think the vision is that the upper field will be used for T-ball, some young youth Premier League and all that. Littlefield will be for, you know, the older kids for soccer, for some softball, for adult pony league, maybe even Babe Ruth, or, you know, and then that lower field would just be focused mostly for soccer,
Flag
flag
football.
football, and some activities.
The only thing that I want to add is I have a concern as far as timelines on some of this stuff, because I have limited people. Because we cut an exorbitant amount of grass this time of year. And I split those folks between ditching on the trails and, you know, stuff that they want and the grass. And you know, I've got a couple guys set aside, things pop up daily with the 10 buildings that we have. So I'm outside personnel, I'm kind of limited. I've got a couple guys, you know, we do a lot of brush and stuff like that, but as far as the guys and the equipment, it's spread kind of thin really. But we'll do whatever we can. And we worked on a lot of these parks. We went ahead and taken the initiative and done some stuff with parking, gravel, fencing, as we can.
Yeah, we have no trouble going out, putting the fence post in, tie up, swap rail, you know, it's a change of pace.
Work
for us.
together
Yeah, that's a change of pace.
Do the
for us.
best we
We don't,
can.
we have no trouble.
one day at a time. And then do what we need to do.
So you're saying the lower field down where the concession stand is really ought to be converted into soccer fields and get rid of what's left.
It's not big enough for
baseball
men's softball and it's really too big for little league. So and soccer almost has a year-round presence now. Place to be.
fields. We need to look at cleaning up that
Oh, it needs cleaned up.
infield and going ahead and grass to them.
Yeah, we go finish the grass, then we do want to tie up the fence on the line, but we do want to put up a fence just on the outskirts to keep the soccer balls from rolling over the hill. And that could be, we have some netting type fence, mesh fence, whatever. the right term is.
Just like 150 feet, just going straight across his back goal, so if the shot gets kicked there, it's a little wide or whatever, it'll get received from there. I mean, we'd have to brush all that area in the back, just get it cleaned up enough so we can just run straight across. In parallel to what the goals were.
Now, some things too, when we get into a hiring for summer situation again, in past years, not lately past, but things that the last commissioner sort of changed the thing. We have hired some summer workers that they work with. Greg has a helper come out, they do weeding, while the other guys are mowing, you know, have a partner for some of his men to stretch out. That's the possibility we've done in the past to help us through that.
And I did send an email there a while back in regards to some of those buildings and the security. We keep changing laws, people keep breaking in, so we will change it. We probably shouldn't keep anything of value out there. There is a major plumbing issue out there, the way that the water had been run, that it's a disaster. The gate thing, I think if we work together, we could resolve that. I think the folks, the fire department needs in there.
And it's an area for helicopters.
The waste management. So my recommendation would be, instead of juggling a bunch of keys, just have them put their own lock in the link in the fence, and when they get in, they just use their key. We've got our key. Because there's activity going on, I think, up around that shelter, and I contacted people I know at the state police and a couple of veterans. It's just, there's a lot of stuff going on.
It's isolated.
And we put that split rail fence up and put the gates and stuff in there, so you have an egress and an ingress to make it look nice around the front, as you saw on one picture. But, you know, if people were just going in there selling drugs and everything else.
We need some signage and some more gravel, especially the hills going up to the soccer field up there. Few loads of gravel make a big difference there too.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
That's,
hopefully it can be tailgated.
can you find 25,000 for that?
You got it, yeah. It's there.
But what I want you guys, when I say this is, again, we've got issues out there. Get with IT, 1 or 2 cameras up where nobody can see it. At least you're gonna know there's something that's going on. And fix your water problem. And, I think it's a park that's located in the county that is used quite a bit if it was back up and in good shape.
It's gonna be used with sports teams, spring, summer, fall, it's gonna be, we've got in there now, they're begging to be there. So that's-
And they're willing to help as well to.
we're not charging them anything to play there, that's where the offset of them helping with things.
I understand then, you know, one of the things that I think it worked well up there, because you got the hill, is an archery range. You've got the place up there, towards that back hill on that upper.
Yeah.
I think it's something to look into, not a lot of money to set one up.
That just, because I'm foreign to that, is this just basic, just targets or do you want
Targets.
like live target?
Targets.
Stand up there and share. Let us know how it works out for you, will you?
We'd
I'll
like
see it, I'll run across.
We'd
the
like
beach.
you to put an apple on your head. And, but listen, I love that too, David. And we find out if that's a liability. Find out what the liability would be on it, because I really, it is big business around here.
I don't know, yeah, the liability would definitely be an issue, I don't know if we can pull it off.
Maybe we'll sort it out there
Supervised
so
times
extra kids.
would be open.
I do like
It's
it.
worth it, yeah, look into it.
Yeah, and if there's no liability, well, there's going to be, but we can afford the liability. You know,
It's a possibility that club would accept the responsibility for that and shoot.
like a dog run.
I'm an archer, and I've done it for years, and with Rick Burns and a lot of guys, and you know, they had events at different locations, and I'm sure that the club signed a waiver or, provided insurance or something like that as part
Seems
of
like a good place when the picnic tables, the pavilions, you got a nice flat space, you have basketball courts, you got a huge hill in behind you.
We've actually taught archery with some of our Richards when we had school kids come. We got our staff certified through the 4-H program.
I think it'd be a good place.
I didn't mean to be rude, I was just saying no to the live targets. I would want to check with our insurance company to make sure that that's a risk that they would in fact insure in the county setting. If it's something that's a little bit unique, but we can check on that.
If you could drink beer and throw axes in Bridgeport, you can shoot archery and, so that is scary.
Right. Motion to budget 25,000 for summer park.
Second.
When we come back, if you need something to get you over the hump.
Okay, motion's been made to allow up to $25,000 to make the necessary improvements to Summit Park for safety and other reasons. I don't mean to put words in your mouth. I'm sorry. I don't believe there's any further discussion.
No.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I don't believe there's any opposition. Motion carried.
Madam President, Commissioner Hinkle, can we go to Wallace next? Because we all know there's a drainage problem there, and I don't want to run out of money.
Well, can we just go to Spelman?
Sure,
Because
sure.
The only reason I want to go there is we have a jewel here
Yes,
that I think it's totally been lost on the citizens of this county because this place has press box, concession stand, unbelievable lighting. It's got an electronic scoreboard. And you can see there is no baseball field. There's a home plate right there with some mud. The infield's growing.
So they put in a grass infield, actually.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but there's no lines, it's nothing. I mean, you've got 90% of what it takes to make a first-class baseball field, and the bleachers are a little fatigued. And I don't know who built the press box, but it needs repairs. And I don't know who put the lighting in down there, and who pays for it. But this field is equivalent to anything that's at Nutter Fort, and it's equivalent to anything that's in Bridgeport, if it's just taken to that next step, Patsy. I mean, it's,
I'm for it. I love it.
I mean, it's,
Last year, what, Doug, twice somebody called us about using it, remember?
so,
It's
and
a,
then,
We honestly don't understand why there hasn't been leagues clamoring to use that field.
the next slide. Their basketball court has no lines painted on it. There's no way to shoot a foul shot. You can see what bleachers are there, and the swing set stuff's not bad. You got one where the plastic's broken out, kids can stick their heads through and actually get cut on it. We've removed others. The wood that's holding your borders up is rotten out. It needs to be replaced with plastic. Then we have gravel around the playground instead of wood. And I was curious why this was gravel.
Gravel is accepted, Bill, it's not my choice. That's
So it's
what
kind of a
we have.
mix of gravel and wood. I don't think I have another spot to it.
Actually, you could, we could build from that and put the wood on top of the gravel and make the distant cushioning necessary.
So I don't know what it takes to fix that baseball field, finish fixing it up, but I sure wish we would budget something to fix it up and go in and at least do the repairs to the playground.
The playground, the only other thing with the playground, it's seriously misses ADA stuff.
Yeah, that was my next, it has no ADA. And the bocce ball courts look like I might as well just see if people want to turn them into gardens, because there's enough stuff growing inside them, but I don't think somebody's played on those since the day you put them in. So there's a big waste of space right there.
Of course, we could clean those up for the time being, and, future places we want to take those out, That generation seems to be gone from stuff that had originally used
and
those.
what the shit.
They're playing in Jim Simpson.
And I don't know what it takes to pull that trailer off our property, but again, if you put
So much space
a
there.
little league or a small league for young kids to play soccer in there,
Yep.
if those bocce ball courts out, you can change that whole layout. So I'd like for you guys to come back with a plan, pretend that trailer disappeared next week. And whoever has the right to pull it,
Well, that's what I was supposed to do with the ball.
bring it back. So I think we just need to start charging the bank rent.
That's something we can look into. And
And if you can come back with a cost or rough estimates for the baseball field and for repairing that equipment.
You want to do any of this stuff on this paper, David?
Uh,
'Cause we could do everything on the paper for 11,000. And really, the ball field, Mike, honest to God, if you did get some part-time people, it needs a good rake's what it needs.
Oh, yeah. The baseball.
it just needs a
Should be
line
letting
out
Carol
there.
do it.
And I think if you let the people come into town that from the tournaments know it's there, especially the lights. The lights all work. I mean,
And there's probably.
We actually were,
and I think
considering,
you could probably get the fire department to crank the concession stand up to
next
well, I think
make
we
some money.
or something.
Mhm.
actually think about the T-ball down and just start getting the use of it.
Right.
It's too big for T-ball, but let people see that there's a ball field.
It's just, it's a heck of a ball field. I just don't know of any other, I mean, there's not a community in Harrison County that would love to have that ball field. It's, well, I'd say right now, let's give them a $15,000 budget, start working down there.
What's your motion?
Yes,
Won't you do me a favor? Let's give them the 12 they need and save the 6 for Wallace, we can fix the drain. Because Amy, couldn't we just put a French drain in that, you know that. that background in Wallace to make the water go to the creek.
Okay, so the motion is for 12,000.
That's fine.
Let's do it.
12,000 for Spelter playground.
Motion for a second.
And come back with how we can take the unused spots that aren't being used between
Yeah.
the house and.
You mentioned a
the bus
small soccer field, it's a great idea for that.
Yeah, if you could put a couple youth league in there, that's.
I don't believe, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, now let's move to Wallace, right?
Yeah, the only thing, Wallace is this playground equipment up on the left is super old. I don't know if it still meets,
You wouldn't put it in now, you're allowed to have it, but since it's already there.
but we don't really have. It's just the grass and the dirt. We haven't boxed it in and make it so when a kid takes the balls and the guy, he's not getting something other than the ground. So I think that needs to be looked at for the swing set.
You know, because that would be same situation with that.
The basketball court is totally disintegrating. It's turned into gravel. It's blacktop is just totally disintegrated. That they take care of again. There's no lines. It had the potential, but it wasn't kept up.
Is there two hoops or?
Two,
Yeah, it's full court.
Next slide. Guys did a great job with the center picture. And again, you make sure when somebody falls out of swing set, they don't hit the ground. This other stuff though, again, we don't protect the kids from falling. It needs painted drastically, along with probably about 100 coats of paint that's been on it. So I don't know if it's really worth keeping. Slide actually has holes in the steps, and we patched the steps with sheet metal, but there's still holes in the steps.
And again, the debate on whether you can keep it, since you have the other,
I don't think it should be a debate.
no, that's what that
Doesn't
is.
sound like it.
It's gone.
Next slide. Okay, that's their backstop for baseball. These people have to have some of the nicest flat land of any park we have. We did attempt to give them a volleyball net, and we've given them an outhouse. And I don't think we probably ever cleaned the outhouse, because I had to hold my breath to get to where I took that picture. Okay, the vent pipes are gone. It's pretty disgusting. The people that I talked to down there are tired of the outhouse being in the shape it's in. And while I'm speaking, some of the kids tried to run down and play in the creek this long. And the parents had to stop it. Because evidently that stream that runs along our park is full of sewage. So we have this beautiful park that you can see off see the hill off to the left. There's a beautiful stream that runs all along, right along our park. We got to make sure that no child evidently gets into that stream, because we have a health problem. And that's not your all's fault. That comes back to us and the health department. But that's what those people have, they love what they have down there. And to be honest with you, some of them didn't even realize that we even did anything. They were talking about the wings of something or another. They think this other group mysteriously puts all this stuff in. So even though we have a sign down there, we're not doing a good job of promoting you guys as the Parks and Rec. But
The pit toilet is a question of whether it won't pump out anymore. That thing's been there since before I was here.
well,
So that's,
a while.
That's
We
been a little
we
while.
need to come up with a plan, because that was one thing that they all said, that once you get, nobody wants to be down there doing something or having a picnic and then have to turn around, jump the car around. So it's an issue that I'd like to have looked at.
That spoke with,
There's options. One option is to get with McCarty and put a porta john in there, maybe during certain months of the year when it's busy. Say like in Memorial Day through Labor Day, just run the things out there. Maybe about $400 a month. They said because it's not a concrete pit, we can't do anything about it. We can't go in and bring in the honey dipper and get it cleaned out. Spoke to John Cooper over at the city park about his restrooms to the left of the playground. And he said that was through a land and water conservation grant match that they were able to get together to have the funding to put that in.
you know, what's that much?
It's expensive. I mean, there's one that's $100,000 and there's one that's about $40,000. I did the research on it, try to figure out what to fix or redo it. Let's say in-house, but if we did it to where, I don't know, I mean, I'm not in the plumbing business, I'm sure Greg's not in the plumbing business, but,
Why doesn't want to be?
it doesn't, I don't like it.
Well, I think right there, I'll address the smell issue. I'll just take some lime down there and get the smell issue addressed right away.
Put the
And,
vent pipe back in,
pardon me?
put the vent pipe back in.
Yeah, and if you moved it up, I would think you could do something very reasonable out of a block. Maybe get with the career center, they've got a walkway program, they may want to use that as a project, maybe to save money, but I think you could do a two-person bathroom out of, block and metal roof, not, $100,000. It's just, that's,
My other would be, you can work something out with the churches across the street. With tie on the building or tie on to their system.
because there's water there.
Yeah, they have water right at their park
And
pavilion, their picnic pavilion, but it's such a nice.
We made a
I mean, they do
It's
use it.
a beautiful piece of property.
They utilize
Again, for $3,500, you say you can replace that backstop, at least give them something that's better than what that is. And where's the water issue at, Patsy, that you're,
It's on the baseball field, and what happens when it rains is the water lays there, but they don't have a lick. So, I mean, it could wait, believe me, because
The one issue that I saw is directly behind the newer playground equipment headed towards the creek. There was a spot there in the middle of that field that laid a little bit. So when we made that parking lot, we took a lot of that dirt and put over there and tried to address that, but as long as there's the kind of, we could take our excavator where the low spot is, we could probably try to get that draining toward there. I don't know.
when you go down there with Chad maybe and.
I mean, if he wants to go, I don't think it's an engineering issue.
Okay.
I mean, because most of it's sloping towards the creek. There's just a couple low spots and you can see where the water is laying the next rain event. And then, but if you want to,
No, you can do it, great. And let me recap real quick. Greg, you're gonna check on Career Center. Since there is a basketball court, you said you could do Good Hope for roughly $5,000. Why don't we resurface that basketball court? Does that sound okay? And then what did you want to do, David, with
I'd like to at least put up a decent backstop so that they do just play pickup games. So they're not chasing fouls.
are you guys okay if we make the motion then to go ahead and do the basketball court and do the backstop, which would be roughly $12,000. And then because we still have the other line item, $6,000, we could move then $4,000 from the line item equipment from 12 down to 8, and we don't take it, and we're still within the budget that was approved last year. So if we take out of 027, which is equipment, which has 12,000 before, would you guys be okay putting $12,000 into this park, including the basketball court and the backstop?
If they get paid for that.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
Can you get it come back to us maybe?
We get quotes,
Well,
that's,
Was-
because there's some surface. It's kind of like a floor, I can get with John at City Parks, or they do a state. They have like this floor, they get that, after a while, it fills in all the cracks and levels out, and they just, repaint.
Just look into it.
It might
see
be
what
an
you find.
option.
Oh, I was gonna say the base is all right. It's just that the surface
Correct.
is crumbled from the sun just beating it to death. So I mean, it's not like it's. You go out there right now and try to stop real quick, you're just gonna keep on sliding on the gravel. There's no real surface to play on. It's just playing on gravel.
Let's make the motion then, if you can do it for under 12 grand. Let's do it. Backstop and basketball.
Just the two.
Yeah, and then let Greg do his, hopefully good deeds and hopefully, partnership with Career Center, and then his fellows can do, try to drain that water.
Have you been to the restrooms at the top of the pavilion in Ferguson Park? You've seen those right above the bocce courts? That might be an option too. I mean, I don't really see those being exorbitant amount. It's like it's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
That's just, I think you get hold of.
Okay. See what you can find out. Did you want to say something?
Yes, and I say something, I was waiting until you all got through all the parts, and then I wanted to say this, but since it was brought up earlier, there are land and water grants, conservation grants out there that you can get, which would virtually double your money. So say for instance, for Summit Park, you have 25,000 allocated as a budget for that. With that grant, we can turn it into 50,000. And I don't see why we wouldn't do that.
I don't either.
That would allow our money to be stretched out further and possibly even make it better than what we originally planned. I mean, to me, that just seems like a good idea.
Give us a time payment.
The time frame, that's what I was.
Give us-
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Time frame.
Yes.
I mean, because that would take some while for.
Yeah, as far as the grant application itself, I would suggest waiting till July 1 because it runs from fiscal year July 1, July 1 to June 30th. As far as the time that you need to get it done, they don't have a timeline. You can use it, you can get it done, just at your time.
But when, how long would it take for the grant to be awarded and we get the money?
Just within a few months. I mean, like the last one I got, that wasn't it, just a few months that we were awarded.
Now,
that
can you
grant.
do all these parks or do you have to do one at a time or can you
What
lump
I
them
would
into one
suggest-
grand?
What I would suggest, we can do more than one grant, but I would focus on the one maybe with it's gonna take the most amount of money. And go try that one and maybe the next one. I don't know that I would do all of them, because then you're allowed to take a chance, them saying, okay, let's give them the money for the smaller ones instead of the bigger ones. But I'm not certainly check into that, but my suggestion would be to try for the larger.
At least try for one for now.
The one that needs the most. Right now, I'm thinking, building a ballpark or soccer field or whatever, Good Hope, that would be a good start. We could turn that 50 grand into 100. Or we could take 25 of that and make it 50, which is what your original budget was for that part.
It's just a question, do you want to wait?
I think it's a matter of these gentlemen looking at what we just gave them. And knowing that which one we're gonna have to still spend some point, maybe up to $75,000 or $100,000 to actually bring it up to
Then we can go back and get the,
and go and have her chase that grant, because I'm not saying I want every park to be like Route 19, but we ought to be able to come.
Make sure they're
50 or
safe.
60%, make everything safe and at least get closer.
This
I'm
grant,
sure we can find projects to, grant.
yeah, this grant's all about recreation and ADA. So,
okay, so we still have a motion. I'm not, I'm gonna cut you off. You got more to say, say it.
I'm good.
Okay. Motion is to spend under $12,000.
Get an estimate for the basketball court. But go ahead and move forward with the backstop. Jeannie, you make my mind blow up, Jack, on you.
Sorry.
Listen, there's not enough money to put in Summit Park. We all agree on that, right?
Mhm.
Can we then make Summit Park our grant application? I mean, it's been bad for a long time, since I was a kid.
Well, let's finish. Sorry, just motion.
Yeah, I just wanted you to all understand, that is another possibility or a way to get money. So you can just be thinking about it as to
Right.
how you want to go about doing it.
Okay, let's do what Susan said there.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut
No, that's
everybody off.
okay.
but
I was
just
gonna
wanna
wait
do
for
one
you
thing at a
to-
time.
Anyway,
Okay, motions for under $12,000 and you guys know what to do, correct? Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. No opposition, I don't hear any. Motion carried. Now we're to Quiet Dell.
Don't have anything on the Quiet Dell as far as slide goes. Don't have it, what Quiet Dell is, I'm still back to the issue, the shape of the building and the ground. That we spent all the money over the years building the buildings. I know you cut part of it, and I ain't afraid to say it's sitting in the building that's leaking on it. Just Quiet Dell needs a lot of ELC.
Has anybody talked to, I mean, their building, but
We go out there on occasion and,
is there people there? I mean,
yeah. There's a handful of people coming in and out there, it's only a lady or two there. We go out, fix lights and things like that. Cut the grass. And we were going to try to figure out what the will and pleasure is. I think the building that the vehicles in is on the brink of no return. We try to place the roof is what we were talking about last year. But one of my guys on there is full shape, so they need shored up in the roof place, or it's probably gonna come down. I know a lot of the other roofing that somebody had put on there had blown off, and we went out there and cleaned that up as well. But, it's an old building. It's pretty neat what they do.
it is.
But it's,
What are our alternatives, I guess, would be another question.
I mean, we applied for the grant. Charlotte, you worked on that, didn't you, and along with Gina, try to find how much money we could look for to fix it up.
no, yeah, I did. That was through the National Park Services. And at that time, it was going to be a long stretch to try to get that. They only chose like 6 out of the country. But I had on my radar, this actual project for the building itself, under the West Virginia Historical Preservation Grant. And it's a 50-50 match, so if you have a $100,000 project, they give you 50. So that was something that I thought about as well. Got a lot of the documentation, I would just need to get with the engineer, maybe get more of a breakdown. There's another breakdown. Items need to be prepared.
I guess what I'm trying to figure out what this commission wants to do is what we want to do with the facilities. I mean,
Well, that's one.
I mean, I know there's a blacksmith shop there. I think there was a part of a little stage or something was there. We've got the CCC buildings. And we've got the school itself where they do building.
with crafts, with an antique.
I have stuff in here. It's been on CDs and everything.
So, I mean, it's kind of a, I guess, I don't know.
Probably.
Well,
That's where
novelty,
you're
or
going.
it's just, it's something that we just keep putting a small Band-Aid on, and it's, I guess it's a commission, what do we want to do with it?
I do know that when we've been out here replacing some stuff, there was some concern that we did, alter things, and make it too modern because there is the historical aspect of that, so that's something to think about.
Right. And that's, your-
Yeah.
Right, it is on the National Historical Register, so, yeah.
So those are programs that you guys can use that facilities for?
I'm sure we can come up with things. We have pretty good luck with our.
I'm just don't know what to do with it. I mean, there's a blacksmith shop out there. I don't know if the stuff's still in it.
you guys want to take a look and see what you think and come back?
I
Sure.
mean, I know the building needs a lot of work. I mean, the eaves are in bad shape, the windows are in bad shape.
Don't let me ask, I mean, for the historic value of it, I mean, my grandfather's at CCC camp, my dad takes a lot of pride in that.
My father
Some of his history, with me, it's probably 50%, with my kids, it's probably 25%, with my grandkids, it's probably 12%. I mean, just gonna kind of.
Right.
hate that-
It's
hate to
gonna,
see
it's
that go
eventually
away.
gonna,
I mean, the one thing we could do would be, I guess, with enrichments is have a field day out there with.
Because they have the barracks,
They
there's
can
two
go
barracks.
through- Yeah, they could go through the barracks, they can go through the museum.
If we get somebody from CCC, somebody from even Coolers, put on how they make the quilts in those days.
Yeah.
and they probably love that out there. I mean, they would.
I mean, that would be the way to develop the traffic again, and then they can go like, with some of the things that we've done, it's when the kids go, they tell the parents about the experience they had, whether it be rocketry, whether it be our dinosaurs.
We've
whether it
done,
be outdoor
we
stuff.
did medieval times, so
Right.
we've come up with, we'll look at it, come up with some active possibilities.
And Band-Aid, I mean, I hate to say it like this, Band-Aid the building if possible until we can.
But I think there's a lot of the senior citizens in this county would probably take a lot more pride in that than
Right.
say
Exactly.
the 18, 19-year-old kids that are out here today. So to keep that history trade going, I mean, there's definitely opportunities for it to happen. Like I said, I mean, Mike's always been so good about looking outside the box, coming up with original ideas, and, we'll crack heads and see what we can do.
Teach a little bit of history while they have.
Yeah,
fun.
kids need to know, learn that.
They need to know history and then they can
I didn't
enjoy the
realize
day.
about that. I didn't know anything about the CCC camp until. You told me that.
And Walter Mouthall was a member of the CC camp, so.
They don't know who Golden Mouth is. Well, I mean, so-
Then you can show them the movie.
Yeah.
See, right there, you're looking outside the box.
Right, yeah. So you,
We could get together some ideas.
I
about
think
some-
you guys have the playground stuff here, and I'll never rule that out, but before we spend this much money on playground equipment, $52,000, I'd rather see. If we're gonna save the facility, let's save the facility and keep it something and figure out, maybe we even need to look at put some up on one of those interstate things down.
It's there.
That
It
is
is
there, and we just need to work harder
that just hits a different generation.
for people to stop and. So I'm not saying today we're gonna put 50,000 in it, but I think this summer we gotta do some stopgap maintenance on it.
It's going to be.
But I don't think it can take too many more winters.
We've done extremely well getting school groups out. So I think hopefully everything will be back in swing next
Right.
year to be able to do field trips and things again.
I think with the three departments working there with the grants and maintenance and all that, and the programming.
Take a look at it, see what we can come up
It might actually help the grant situation, say that we're bringing kids out to
Right.
learn about CCC. It's those collaborative efforts make a big difference.
What I'd like to do, if the other two commissioners agree to it, for the committee, but I would like to, for you all to come back and tell us what
Page two.
Next year, about the banks off, they should call it.
And look at how we can use those buildings for your enrichment program throughout the summer.
Let's go back to the plan.
That would be a good budget to work with.
A couple of the things too that was on that, the list from the previous grant, they wanted to take that greenhouse off.
It needs to come off.
Because it's pretty dangerous looking right now.
So
So that was one of the things to remove that, because that was an original fixture. And also to update the restrooms downstairs, make it more ADA compliant and actually just easier access altogether.
we could look at chair with up and down the steps or something. But now that greenhouse back makes that building look good.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike. County clerk in the building department, see where we could take that $25,000 from. Just let us know. I just want to know where the money's coming from. You know, I don't have nothing in front of me right now. I don't know.
We're not giving it to them right
He's
now.
not.
It's just that that's a budget to work with, come back and see what they can do for that. And
And
then
then we'll look for the,
And still let us know where the money's coming from, so I can say yes, because I love it.
we need a motion to direct them to do that or.
No.
Okay. Anything further on Quiet Dale? Hearing none. Review, discuss to authorize planning department to look into spot zoning around CKB Airport as soon as possible.
Oh, I didn't know if we were getting something off the top.
No, no, no,
Oh, I apologize.
no, that's okay. No, I was just trying to put that back.
Again, I brought it up, but we have discussed spot zoning. We're starting to see more housing development popping up in the area outside of Bridgeport that's in the county. If we can zone those areas and make sure that as development goes, that it's something that doesn't affect or we control how it affects the airport, which is a huge financial generator in this community. I think it's foolish. So far, the county has spent close to $2 million to buy up land to keep that from happening. And I just think it's crazy for us to keep pouring money out to control what happens in the countryside out there, where if it's farming now, it stays farming. If it becomes residential or somebody wants to put apartment buildings in, we can spec out how that's to happen, so that the airport doesn't have to worry about breaking the future. We already have people building homes that are butting up against industrial property, we already thought, so. We all know as soon as you start building homes against commercial property, then you have issues. We have some land out there that if the gentleman decides to put in a trailer court or put in apartments, it will alter the growth of the airport. So, like first to look, we talked about spot zoning for the years now around the airport, protected. I'd like for planning to see what it takes to just do zoning in a small area within the county. And it would be limited to the area around the airport.
But I'm not in favor of this. I will speak up. Because once you start, who knows where it will end up. I'm not against, I'm not opposing anything that has to do with airport development by any means. That's my 2 cents.
Just think that when you've got something that's on its way to trying to become $2 billion impact. you should go and protect it. I think it's a small issue and sacrifice to protect something that's going to go to maybe a $2 billion impact on the economy in this county. To make sure that we have that growth.
I think this is just something that we'll have to agree to disagree with.
I just want you to understand that that's one of the things that developers look at. Is what goes in the side. They don't want to build, know that a housing development's going to come right next to them. The housing development doesn't want an industrial site. Right? So that's a very clear thing.
But yet, you just said housing is building next to industrial. Did you not say that?
Yeah, but
Okay.
you can make sure that.
I mean, I'm just asking.
That you
I'm
can
just asking.
control how it is done. That's the issue by zoning. How it's designed.
So there's no action to be taken on this item.
I make a motion to have planning with them to start looking around there.
Motion's been made to look in, for planning to look into spot zoning around the airport. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? No. Number 19, review, discuss to direct our attorney to begin looking at what is required to make care. Okay. So no, we don't need any, no action on 19 is required. Number 20, review, discuss to allow the grant department to apply for industrial access road grant fiscal year 2021, 2022 for RDR project located at Old Anchor Hockey Industrial Site.
Hey, Gina, the only question I have with this is, have we've done the airport once, are we doing it a second time?
I have not done the airport.
No, not the airport, the Thrasher property where we're putting in the medical marijuana. We've just done it.
I have not done an IR grant for the airport for that area. I don't know if he did on behalf of the development authority, but I don't think so.
Well, let me ask you something, then who's doing the, so who did we apply for then last year?
Last year is where, for the IR road,
Chris Lane.
that was Chris Lane up here on 50. For the crossroads. And the year before that, it was the power plant.
So we've never applied for the grant and the money's never ever been used.
For the airport.
No, I mean, period. The power plant never came to.
But it has to be used for
It
that
has to be used for
specific
that
purpose.
project. We can't move it to another project.
I'm
So-
totally with you right now, but have we ever got the grant and ever put it towards the growth of the county?
Well, we did Sun Valley Industrial Access Road, the medical, was there one at medical that we did? But yeah, we have done it.
So that was just when I wasn't here.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Well, what I'm saying is we're gonna do, why can't we do this one this year? When he already has the facility.
Well, number one, the most important thing is before you do a project, the state has to be aware of it. The DOH and the development office has to be aware of the project.
Yeah.
And in my, I did make a call because I wanted to make sure I had all my facts straight. They were not aware of any project at RDR. They are aware of what's going on at the airport and the Harvest Medical, and they're on board with all that. There is money right now that we can apply for this year's money. But he said, maybe the end of May, it may not be there. So it's something that if we want to apply for, we need to get on with it and do it, not wait until June like we have the last couple of years.
I admit, I bring this up all the time, and yet I'm hearing that we're not going anywhere right now, and I don't know why. I get so confused sometimes.
If we
Well,
go to
there's more to
21,
it than just bringing it up. There's a lot of preparation that has to be done. It's not a matter of just putting pen to paper and sending it in.
I'm following you, but I remember Ron and I, David, one time said, let's go, and we didn't go anywhere.
well, no, we did Chris, and then we said the Harrison County Development Park. And if you look at 21, they're here today to ask for approval. They have done everything to date that's required to get the grant, and I think Amy can tell you what's been done. Go get down with Gina to finish the grant out.
Okay, so let me
So
ask you this.
basically, RDR has not taken the proper steps to apply for this grant. I'm trying to educate myself.
No, you're right. I mean,
I think RDR will have a hard time being in the city of Clarksburg to take.
Well, I mean, I'm not worried about that part of it. I'm trying to educate myself on when you apply for these grants, and then I'm not meaning to cut you off. Just the process that you go through to apply for these road grants or access.
right, and one of the other.
But it's the
criteria-
responsibility of whoever is applying for the grant to let the state know what's going on.
Well, I mean.
That's what I'm hearing.
In cooperation with the county, everybody has to collaborate together to be able to get what they need.
Okay, what's the first step you have to do?
The first step is, you gotta get environmental surveys done, make sure that there's nothing, environmental.
Okay, but you do that through the state.
And then, but the main thing is that the DOH is aware of the project and that they see plans and that they approve this plan, the same way the development.
Okay.
plans. They
Okay, I
have
think I
to,
got it.
they have to approve. And it also can't be a road that goes into a business, a single private business. It has to be made available for
More
other
than one.
businesses that come in because their main thing is growth and jobs and development.
So let me ask you this then. So you and Amy we're doing good at the airport right now. And then next year, you guys could then work with RDR in their industrial park, which meets the criteria, to let them be next year.
Okay,
Wait a minute, Jim. Amy is not asking any money for the airport.
No, but she's helped Chris and she's helped the other. Why
Yeah.
couldn't she help RDR?
You can, but
Okay.
you also have another request at the same time period from the airport itself.
I think what I'm
But
saying is,
maybe we just need to help RDR get in line,
yeah, let's make them second in line,
Right.
what I'm saying.
right?
Yeah, or any other project, correct, yes, we're allowed one, the county allowed one.
One a year.
Well, let's-
Yeah.
let's-
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Let's get him in line.
And
let's
that's
do-
not even, it's not a sure thing either. It
Right.
only has so much as far as funding, and it's limited, so the application can go in up until, to the end of June, and you can follow back up July 1st or 2nd.
But we have to start somewhere. We have to get
Start
this,
Somewhere, and June's right,
we
we
have-
have to have a project in place. The project has to be approved or at least submitted to the state for review. You go through that review process, and then they submit that to Department of Highways. The Department of Highways also has to sign off on this. And once you have your environmental, your engineering, your okay by the state, tentative okay by the state, you then need approval or at least support from the county to work with Gina in making the application to the state.
Then what you just told me is we're gonna go ahead and approve 21, because we're working on it presently. And then we can take 20 and work on it next and get the ball moving. And shame on the state that they don't know an industrial park's been built that's created jobs and that much economic development in the city of Clarksburg.
To the project developer to submit that to the state. So we're aware of the project.
But it's up to us to
need
let them know that.
For the grants, correct.
And
And
people
jobs
don't,
have to be attached to it.
and unfortunately, everybody doesn't know the political side of things. They just want to work hard and do good. So we need to reach out to them sometimes and help them to work hard and do good. So I'm following everything you guys are saying. And I'm,
Can I make one little point and just a tiny correction? You can't apply for 2 grants. They cannot, and the combination cannot go over $400,000 a year for unmatched money and $150,000 for matching money. So, and each grant that you do has to have, the private sector has to put in 10 times. In other words, if you get a $400,000 grant, there has to be $4 million put in by the private sector, not the county government, but the private sector in that part. So if you don't have that, then that, that disqualifies you there too. But you can do more than 1 grant. It just cannot go over $400,000 for unmatched and $150,000 for matched. So I don't know what price we're talking about on either one of these projects, but that's another thought. We could break it into phases too, possibly, but it's not up to me to decide what grant to do, so it's up to you all to decide which one you want, so.
well, I'll go with what David said. We're on 21, make the motion to move forward, because we already have the ball rolling. And then I'll then get the 20 and decide if we want to do it next,
Okay, so we're gonna move 21 up.
please.
Approval of the grant department to apply for industrial access road grant fiscal year 2021 Harrison County Economic Development Corporation. So the motion has been made to approve this to move forward, right?
Please.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Amy, everything is done except to sit down with Gina.
Yes.
You got what-
Today, the application, we do have, like you said, 10%. We have to have 4 million, which we have. I'm not sure we're gonna ask for the full 400,000 if we would need that, but we were told to go for it. We should have $8 million investment.
That's all I have.
So there's no cost to the county. So make sure I understand that too. Okay, any more discussion? Thank you, Amy. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now, let's go to 20. Again. What's the pleasure?
Motion to make it next in line for the opportunity to receive access road grant money. Get them moving on it.
Motion to make this next in line and get it moving.
Yeah.
Do whatever we need to do to help them get this moving. Is that
Yeah, we gotta reach out to them and get the bill going.
okay? Any further discussion on that? Does everybody understand?
I guess my question is, if we do what we're saying, that we're gonna start putting people in line, and if they fail, I think we would want to present this, whatever we're presenting to the state, whether it's Amy again with another project, Sean with the airport, or RDR. If we look at that value of projects, that we see what they're gonna do for the benefit of the county, not the individual project. So if these people that want to apply, I don't want them not to be able to apply from a Chris Lane to a whoever. If they can get the work done and get the buy off, and I think it's a matter of us making a decision unless Gina and Amy can tell me otherwise, we shouldn't do it that way.
No, I agree. I understand there's a project that's ready to go. I fully support that and understand. But we've also had projects over the past 3 years that are sitting idle that they can pick up, such as the power plant or something like that. You never know.
Okay. Motion is on the floor on 20.
Can I say something again, Susan?
Sure.
On the RDR area, are there other businesses that they have committed to come into that park? Or is it just for this person's private business?
Gina, the only thing I can tell you is they are building their 4th building as we speak.
But is it their building or is it building for another business?
It's another
And then
business, because there's 3 businesses out there now.
That is not only theirs. And
Right.
I'm not trying to be negative by any
No,
way.
no, 2
I
of the
just wanna make
businesses that
sure
exist
because-
now are not part of RDR, they're just on their, in their industrial park.
Okay, because one of the things that we need is commitment letters from companies stating, you know, we're gonna hire this many people, we're gonna spend this much money in payroll and so on. So that's one of the things, and to be into the code of allowable, they cannot be a private, this road cannot go to just a private business. You know, there has to be other businesses, and there's there's certain businesses that are allowed and not allowed. So I just want to make sure that we're following code and doing everything correctly.
And I think that's why we have Amy and the economic development team to move the county forward with every opportunity we can. I think that's her role, not, to find, develop, and help every private or government entity that wants to invest here in Harrison County. So,
RDR in contact with you about?
I've reached out to them a couple times. I've met with Mr. Randolph on different projects, and I've submitted to him possible incentives that Parksburg and state has for that site. They have not been used, not to say that he's not going to. There are a couple of developers in the area that choose not to have outside funds. Red tape and everything else they don't want to go through. I would urge him for that project. He also falls in the opportunity, so. So I will go to another meeting with him. I'd love to sit down and talk about some of the other incentives it has. Not just this road application, but, I'll have to help him with that, but anything else.
John's here at the airport. The airport's gonna be, it's already started design work on the interchange into the airport. So we'll be looking for funds from the state to redesign the interchange that they're going into the new industrial park.
Okay, the motion's on the floor for 20. Anything else? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Now, let's see. 23, right? Review, discuss to allow the grant department to apply for industrial access road grant for 21-22 CKB Airport. Is that where I'm at here? Okay. Where are we with this?
Make a motion that they be allowed to continue to apply for a grant.
So that would make us applying for 2 grants, right?
so you want to apply for it at the same time, Susan?
That's what, I mean, that's what the motion is, correct?
This minute.
Any further discussion?
And we can apply for 2, right?
You just have to split the money, figure out how you want to, how much you want to apply for each line, if you want to split it down the middle, or that's why I say I don't know what budgets are for either project, so I can't make that suggestion, but you can do 2 grants, you just have to split the money.
Or we could just move that to 22, 23.
That's totally up to you all. I can't say what project to do. I'll just be happy to apply for whatever you want me to apply.
Okay, the motion is on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
No.
Let's try to apply for 2 of them. Okay, number 24, review, discuss, initiate filing of vacant position, discussion of county form of government and administrative framework.
Now, as I stated on Monday, I talked with one of our staff members, and I still think that Laura would be, her work ethic and her communication skills, I think she would be good in this role in an interim. And I think that we can also get ahead and get the ball moving and each come to what we want to put in the newspaper or on the website to advertise for filling the vacant position. I have a list of things, and you guys can come up with your list and we can divide them or do whatever we want.
Well, right now, we need to fill the position for the time being. I would like to fill the position for the temporary interim position for the time being. And then maybe
What this is for interim. Or just a full time?
This is
So it's,
I didn't put it on here, but I believe it's interim. Is it interim, Mr. Tricos?
I thought Monday was interim and we agreed to carry it to this.
on the agenda, we can't agree to that.
We agreed to carry Monday over to Wednesday. What's your recommendation?
This description is certainly sufficient for the hire of the administrator. The exact
Discussion that filling wow. Vacant position. It is. It's outside. Well, I guess my first question is that we have a hiring freeze. So we're just gonna move somebody and at some point we'll hire somebody. Is that correct? Or we're just moving somebody into that position? Is that what y'all want to do?
No, that's not my, I don't, I mean, I'm not saying that's what, yes, temporary, exactly. Until we can hire somebody for that position permanently.
So now I can talk about Jimmy Harris today.
Yeah, certainly you can talk about Jimmy Harris, and you also talk about duties and responsibilities and what it's gonna look like if you bring somebody internally. How's that gonna balance out in terms of what they were doing at the time versus on the dual role, or however you want to bring it. Certainly talk about Jimmy Harris.
Well, I see it as doing the day-to-day duties that the previous person did. It's like I mentioned the other day, and I think David, you reeled off some things as well that I feel is important to carry out. And if there, until we can get it advertised for full-time employment.
And just to run down what I went over Monday, so it's on the record here today, is, we payroll information, time sheets, payroll change information, work with the clerk's office on workers' comp, insurance claims, work with the commission on the budget, would approve time sheets all except for their own, which would fall underneath the commission president. Sign off on requisitions, make sure that the requisitions are being taken out of the right code. Day-to-day operations of the county commission.
Working with the supervisors, whatever needs to be done there.
The supervisors would approve, of course, their own department, their own,
But I mean, if they have anything they need to go
and
through.
then they would sign off on the department heads, constitutional officers on that.
Again, you have a gentleman that's offered his services to come in temporarily to from county. Who understands the budget, understands all the departments. Spent 15+ years doing Evidently, this is a full-time job if she's gonna do both. So, we could talk to Mr. Harris and see if he could fulfill those same duties on a part-time basis. Or are we moving, saying it's a full-time job, we have to find somebody else to oversee everything. We are, we're still fighting COVID, so that's what she's overseen, so I'm just curious how this all changes.
Are we allowed to ask?
Excuse me, wait a second.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Wait for- I know we're all listening to each other.
Well, who is what's the question? Who's it directed to? Okay. I guess that's your pointing to Mr. Treacle.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I see her just adding this to hers. You know, she does a great job of delegation. She has Peggy. Let us not forget that, you know, we do have 30-some years service and experience, and who had the job prior to her. Paul is still here. And I just think that, I really do. I think things will flow nicely with her. She has great delegating skills and her ability to be a part of putting together organized chaos as it was at the Armory. It was amazing how smooth it went with so much going on at one time.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Can we do that even though it was not on the?
Personnel matters.
That's the first question I was gonna ask is why. The answer
Personnel.
is yes, you can, as long as it emanates from the agenda item. Once that day, there is an agenda item. That's
A motion has been made to go into executive session
discuss personnel.
to discuss a personnel matter pursuant to 6-9.
Pursuant to one of the exceptions to the.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
I guess we'll go into executive session. Pursuant to the. The session in the regular session. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Back on 24.
You ready for this, John? The motion's going to be that Laura Pease, the interim in the position vacated, that she be relieved but still overseer of her role that she has now, and that Peggy assumes that responsibility, but you would oversee Peggy. And that in case your absence, then Greg Dell would then sit in your role. And that within the 30th of this month, you then meet with all department heads and constitutional officers to help yourself get the ball moving and get yourself caught up. And that you would go up one pay grade to a G6. And then Trey, do you want me to continue with the other? So I can make it one motion that within the next 2 weeks, we get our job description in for filling the position permanently, and that we then, through you, hire a firm to advertise the job, and then with an 8 to 10 week period, advertise, interview, and hire for the position permanently. Did I leave anything out? County administrator.
And of course, interim county.
And Laura's going to be interim commissioner, with Greg
And that
Astor backup.
salary is temporary.
And that salary is temporary. Okay,
And then I go back to OEM.
yeah,
We under that Anderson's motion.
I understand the motion, but it's big enough that I think we should have break it up several. But we no choice on how I have.
listen, if you want to change it and break it up, do it.
That wasn't the intent at all. If you want to break it
No,
up,
you break it up, David, please.
It's your motion. If you want to reframe it, break it up. You have to reframe it.
Okay, let me reframe it. Coach me, follow me.
Do the first part, her.
Motion to make Laura Pease interim county administrator with her backup being Greg Dale. She would turn over her full-time duties to Peggy Bailey, but still continue to oversee her and essentially be department head supervisor.
Okay,
Bump and pay to a G6.
let's put on that one first.
Motion on the floor.
Okay.
Okay.
Clear on that?
Yeah. Well, I guess my question is, if Greg is supposed to step in the job, is that what you're saying? Or?
I thought Greg-
No, in her absence, say she goes on vacation or has a sick day. You know, that would,
He's gonna be county administrator.
no, but he would be the go-to for the department heads in case of a need.
It's a good question. It's a good clarification.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand so that he understands that he's gone for a week. And he's sharing in those responsibilities. You want to compensate him for that?
no, we didn't compensate him when you said, well, we didn't compensate him if he stepped in for Willie, for the previous county administrator.
He stepped in for a meeting, you're asking me to step in and action, right?
Well, quite frankly,
Just ask it.
I don't think that if Laura's not here, no different than our previous administrator, that the operation of the courthouse will continue to maintain at a great.
I understood the building was the biggest
Yeah, the-
concern where
yeah.
Greg would actually step
Yeah,
in. to
I
help.
think the
But I
concern
think he's
is,
already on,
right,
does some of that right now.
I don't hear well, I'm sorry.
You're already involved in the building across the street with meeting with contractors and whatnot, and what have you, correct?
Mr. Parker had it. Up to the new county administrator that's taking over from Mr. Parker's back that.
all right, then let's, yeah, so then let's leave Greg out of the motion altogether
That would make me
then.
happy.
Okay. Deal. Motion then, to remove Greg from any part of the motion. All right,
Okay. So the motion is for Laura and the bump temporarily, right?
yeah,
Okay. Any further discussion on that part of the motion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
okay, second motion is that within 2 weeks, all of us give our job description and then allow the county attorney to then find a firm that can
I
advertise.
think we need to find the firm. That was
There
the,
we go.
we find the firm.
Okay,
We
we'll find
take
a
him-
firm.
Take him out of it.
Okay. Do we want him to compile our, okay, we'll just give our compile
We-
just within the
When we,
next 2
when we
weeks.
come back
I'm
with the
with ya.
description, let's come back with the company.
And then
How's
hire,
that?
yeah, and then come back and then,
It's gonna file, it's gonna be temporary. not sure.
Yeah, well,
okay,
that can be one of her jobs to find those companies for us to hire. and
Okay.
then Make a decision. There we go. There we go.
All right.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
We'll get there.
and then hire within an 8 to 10 week period. And if it goes over to 12 to get the right person, we're good. See what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Flexibility.
But right now, we gotta get the company.
Yeah, let's get the company. And we'll
And
give
come
you,
back
and we'll
with
give you
the-
the information we expect within the next 2 weeks. All right. Call
Okay,
the
so that,
question.
okay, I want to make sure I understand the motion. The motion is for Laura to find the companies to advertise for the replacement of our county administrator, and us to have our information to her within 2 weeks.
Mhm.
No further discussion?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. Now, does that take care of it? Is there a third? That's it.
That's it.
Okay. Okay. Okay, next, number 25, commissioner comments. I just, and I know this is a question, but I'm gonna, have we ever set a time limit for public speaking? Okay, can you tell me what that is?
3.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay. Thank you. That's all I have. Okay,
Got a piece
Mr.
of paper?
Do you have any comments, Mr. Hagan?
Well, that's that word out papers, Linda.
No, all I want to do is the next week that we put on the agenda to consider hiring a clerk of the works for the new annex building. And that yes, that we hire clerk of the works. And two, that we have on the agenda, we have 2 vacancies on the Mountaineer Trail Network Recreation Authority, that we fill those 2 vacancies. And the only other comment I have is that I have already been there. May 4th at 6 p.m. is the Lost Creek work session. For David and Susan, if you would like to attend, they would love to show you what the plan is for blacktopping the parking lot in front of their community center, senior center facility. And that I have already attended a work session. If you guys want to attend together, or if you want to go separate, whatever.
I won't be. Actually, I don't be in town on the 5th.
Do you guys, David, if you want to go to the 4th, if you want me to ask that they postpone it, and so you can go together, that's fine. I'll do that. I'll bring it up again next week then. That's all I have.
But I know you want to do a clerk of the works. I think we hired somebody to oversee some of the work that's going on behind us. I'm not sure what that contract entails. But I don't know if staff can have it done, but we have contracts with Raction presently. I don't know the full details, so I think we need to look at and see what we've already hired them to do.
There's your,
I think we'll go spending more money, and then I think we need to discuss that contract with staff.
check to see what other contracts are out there.
Yeah. I think we have some things we have to cover before we get too much deeper in the woods on that there.
I agree.
I will, and if it's all right with the attorney and my commission. Mr. Dale and I can sit in with the contractors. And we can there evaluate what their issues are, or back to you all.
Matter of fact, David, I just read that everybody come to the meeting next week and we all sit down and talk together, from Rycon to Sealing to, Taylor Brothers, Carl Taylor and Sons, so we can get this out the horn. And I agree with you that familiarity is key to this. And I just assume make part of the agenda item next week that we allocate, you know, a Thrasher X amount of dollars to become that for us, the worker, clerk of the works.
Do you want them coming to the meeting?
Yeah,
All those
I think so.
entities?
Yeah, I do.
I'd personally like to hear it, whether I need to go to a meeting or not.
I mean,
I'd like to hear it from them.
you're gonna have to make the commission to call for this.
Right.
Yeah, make it an agenda item for next Wednesday.
If available.
Just to let you all know, there is you attended one, there is
Right.
a progress meeting every other Thursday at 1:15. With Rycon and Sealing, Glenn is overseeing that on our behalf. On the
At 1, when's the next one?
1:15.
Is it tomorrow or next?
No,
Can you just move it to Wednesday? Be here at 10? Or do both? I don't care.
I don't know if some of these folks come from Pittsburgh area.
You want to check and see?
We can send them an email.
I'm sure on a $25 million project, they can drive to Harrison County and let us know what's going on.
But I mean, I won't be here on the 4th. I don't know what you guys want to do. about
That's next
that.
Wednesday. So let's get it done next Wednesday, which will be what, the 27th?
Okay,
28th. Yeah,
try. Chances are you won't get everybody.
You won't get everybody. The other party in the town.
Well, the good news is there's polish.
yeah.
That's true.
We had that issue last time with our brain.
We can try it again. Well, they may be tied up on something else. Too. I guess what you're saying.
They have been pretty good work with, and it is one percent.
Actually, I hear just the opposite. So we really do need to have this meeting.
Or anything. That's why I want to hear.
All right. I don't have anything else. David? Susan?
No,
Motion adjourned.
motion to adjourn. All in favor? Signify by saying aye. Aye. No opposition.